guys, this is Sheff. I'm here at Itchy Brain Recording Studios where we do our recording. You can find us on the website at www.HDQTRZ. That's HDQTRZ. That stands for headquarters. That's where we do our post-production. I do the mixing. And our mastering is done by Earle Holder. And our recording studio, Itchy Brains, founded by Steve Wade. And you can find us on Instagram at Sheff Dizzle. Facebook, I'm also Sheff Dizzle Morrison. Pretty much all over the web. If you type in Sheff with an S, I'm the only guy you'll find, okay? Well, with me, it almost started before I had memory because my family are all into music. I come from a church background. Both of my grandparents are bishops. They both actually literally play the guitar. And their wives were best friends. And they both played the piano and sung. And their kids happen to get married and have me. I'm a product of music. My whole life I've been into it. First, my mother told me to get onto the bass because I used to fight over the drums at church. I mean, me and my cousins, we would fight at church, literally, in the front. And one day she said, why don't you focus on the bass? And I didn't even have a bass. I didn't have any instrument at all. And I would just listen to music and listen to the bass. Until I was about 10 or 11 is when I got my first actual bass guitar from my Uncle Jay. And that started it all. Because I grew up in a church background, my family, we owned a lot of instruments, but they weren't the best quality. I was able to kind of bounce around from bass and at the end of church jump on the drums and sometimes get on the organ and fiddle-faddle, and I would hear my uncles and my older family members playing and see how it's done. That really compelled me and led me to where I am now. After that, I was able to grab a DR5 drum machine from my godbrother, and I borrowed it and I just kept it for months. And that's when the production using MIDI really came out. I was able to make beats and make music. And he told me I couldn't make rap tracks. He said all my music sounded too jazzy. And I think that was because I come from a live instrumentation background. I didn't grow up with MIDI. I grew up playing instruments. So naturally, when I got into MIDI production and things like that, I kind of brung that live influence with me. And then after that, I was able to get a MPC 2000. A lot of you old school guys know what that is. And that started the sample era for me. And from that, combining the MIDI, the sampling, the live instrumentation, it's really made me the production engineer that I am now. Moving from Philadelphia, which is a great place for art, music, and culture, but not as safe. I moved on to the South here in Atlanta, where it was a lot safer just to walk around, but also there's an up-and-coming artistic scene here. And I got here at the beginning in 2002 or 3 when things were kind of headed in a upward direction. In doing so, I created a rap group. We called ourselves Wide Scope Entertainment. I had about 12 guys and 5 girls, and we went all around town. We opened up at T.I.'s club when it first opened, Crucial. We performed all over the place. The turning point for me was when we were asked for money to perform. At that moment, I realized I was on the wrong side of the ball. And even though I had talent in terms of an artist, and I could write, I could rap, I can do all these great things, I had to pay bills. And in order to pay bills, you got to make money. And I realized that this new influx of artists, home-based artists, they have to get their stuff to be quality. They need it to be quality. We all need quality music and quality art, whatever it is that we're doing in our craft. So they all needed an engineer. And I realized that that's what I need to fulfill. There's a demand. Here's the answer to the problems that they're having. And I knew that I could do it. I always had a knack for computers, and I was already recording my group because we didn't have any money. So I went on into to become an actual full-fledged engineer. Later on, I met up with a guy named Earle Holder from Public Enemy. And I met him by happenstance. I kind of went online and just searched all over the place trying to find the right situation to get up under to learn from. And his particular website, it had two things that stood out to me. One was his cell phone number was there. Two, he actually explained how to mix and master, even though that was the product that he was selling. So because when a person does something like that, that tells you who they are. You know, that's a teacher. That's someone that has something to offer and doesn't mind giving it to an actual student. Not everyone knows how to be a student. So I called him in as a student. I was able to connect with him, and here I am 12 years later in business. One thing you will have to do in any artistic field is sacrifice, or any business endeavor. You have to sacrifice, and I have definitely done that. For one, when it comes to relating and in relationships with people, you're going to have to build some, and some you're going to have to let go. I've been single for most of this path that I've been on. You know, I have one son. Me and his mother, we get along as parents, but it's a little difficult to ask someone to understand everything that you have going in your creative mind, especially when you're artistic and you have these goals that are way out there in the clouds. You can't expect someone to see that far. They only can see as far as they can see. So with that being said, some relationships you're going to have to let go to follow your dream or your goal. And there are some other relationships that you're going to have to build, and some free time you're going to have to give for about maybe 4 years or so, 3 or 4 years, from 2000 to 2005 maybe. You could get my services for free, basically. All you had to do was have passion, have talent, and be around me. And I would record you, I would make tracks for you, I would write for you, I would collaborate with you, I would record you, I would manage you, I would get you into showcases, I would book events for us, and all these things that I've done for many people, for myself, for one. And I did that because I chose not to go into a institution to learn what I learned. I chose a different route. There are many routes. You can go into an institution. You can get under someone, a guru. You can collect the books and then put the man hours into the work after reading. These are all ways that you can learn, and I chose particularly to put man hours in. I'm an on-the-job learner. That's how I learn. If I watch you do something, I'll get in there and do it 100 times, then I can do it. So I did that for about 5 years, and I've heard that to become a master at anything, you need about 5 years. You need thousands of hours at a particular craft, and mixing, production, writing. These things I've done for a very long time, maybe 5 to 10 years prior to ever making an actual dollar. One thing I will say with my moving ahead, it was all about building relationships. There's been several different types of relationships that I've had to build in my career that has helped me move forward. The first relationship that kind of moved me forward was meeting a guy by the name of Earle Holder. Now, Earle Holder is a Grammy Award-winning mastering engineer. He also created some software. He's a software designer. He created one of the first graphical EQs with Hardball. And Hardball is a mastering EQ that is, you'll see it in Sound and Sound magazine. It's all over the internet. It's $1 million company. But this guy in particular, when I went on his website, I saw his cell phone number and I saw him explaining the craft, and I knew that it was someone that I could learn from. When I gave him a call, he just started explaining. I asked questions and he explained. It was as simple as that. And I talked with him for about an hour or so, and through the years I never asked of him of anything. Up until this point, I've never asked that guy for anything, and I think that's very important when you're building a relationship with someone. It's not necessarily coming in needy, but coming in as a piece to their puzzle. With doing that, with learning over the time, he actually gave me an opportunity to join the team. In about 2008, I joined forces with headquarters. I became the actual mixing engineer for the company, and that kind of catapulted me into earning real dollars to actually pay my bills, like the light bill and car note and insurance, and not have to work at some side job. Then I've also built a lot of relationships with artists. Not lost a single customer. Pretty much all still with me now. All of the artists that I've mixed in the past up until now. And of course I've gotten better over the years. They have too. We've all kind of grown together. But with any company, you want your customers to stay with you and grow with you. So the customer-based relationships are very, very, very important. Then my friends that I started with from the beginning, when I had nothing and I made $0 and I charged $0. They have all grown in their respective careers. And at this point, we've kind of come up as a level. Whereas now I'm able to get work from and give work to a lot of my friends that I actually started learning with. You know, I have friends that do film. I have friends that do writing. I have friends that do video, all types of media. Even this situation has come from one of my friends and colleagues that at this point in his career, he has come full circle and has some things going on that are very big, like working with Our Atlanta and things like that. So relationships are extremely important. Right now I'm doing a film score with a group called the Artist and Company. The film is called Hillary, and it's a short film. They're actually doing a film festival coming up November the 6th. And I've got with that because the people who are doing it are actually my friends from 10 years ago. You know, we lived next door to each other, and we were sitting around in the studio talking about what we wanted to do and what they wanted to do and our dreams and our goals, and we worked hard at it. We put in that blood, sweat, and tears, and now here we are working with each other. Another relationship is with the guy that owns this studio, Steve Wade. Steve Wade is a big piece to the puzzle. In connecting with him, I was able to gain access to a full-fledged recording facility. As you see here, we have a live room behind me with plenty of guitars, drums, organ, bass, you name it, we have it. Huge room here, engineering room, and the smaller recording room. These things were all made available to me based on the relationships that I built. One thing I would like to add is the necessity for understanding business, and the business that has to do with your particular craft. For example, I got into scoring, and I got into some situations that I should have benefited more from had I known better. Sometimes as a producer or a creative, a big situation can come to you and the excitement pulls you in. Oh, I'm doing something for this big company. I'm not going to say any names. And I actually scored a really huge film that's on Netflix, very successful. At the same time, I wasn't able to benefit monetarily from that event because I didn't understand the business. With the business, you need to read. You must read. You got to pick up a book and read it. Yes, you can use Google, you can use the search engines, but you need to find actual books written by successful people about the business that you're in. Either that, or you need to find someone that is successful, not just someone that's in the business, someone that is successful in the business, so that they can give you the ins and outs on things that you need to take care of in the business. For example, you'll hear a lot in the music industry, people will say, oh, you got to get with a writers association. You need to get with ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC. But that's not the full truth. See, because in actuality, you don't need those things until you actually have something published. For example, I do song placements, and at one point I had an opportunity to move over to CSAC. I started out with ASCAP because it was free 10 years ago, because someone said, you need to have this. No other reason did I get it but that. But it actually became a hindrance because 10 years later, I'm in a placement situation where the people I'm garnishing placements from are with CSAC, and with being with CSAC, I'm able to kind of tie myself into their business model and structure a little better than me being with ASCAP. But the problem is, once you get with the writing association, you're locked in for 2 years. And you cannot get out of that writing association without writing a physical letter to them within a 3-month to 6-month window. That window is set up to go with the first original date that you joined. So let's say I joined on November 12th, 1995. Well, every 2 years, 6 months from November 12th, I can write an actual letter to them to get out of it. If I miss that 6-month window and I'm not within 3 months of November 12th, they keep me for 2 more years. Period. And there's no way to get out of that. There's nothing you can do about it. You can call everyone. You can call your mom, dad, uncle, sister, brother. You can call the CEO of ASCAP. They will not allow you out of that contract, whether you're nobody or you're somebody, whether you're Jay-Z or you're me. Doesn't matter. So that's one thing that I could really share with people. And I strongly advise everyone to look and dig and find out the business doings of your business. And I say it like that because it's very layered business when it comes to the creative arts. Business is very layered. There's a lot of layers to the business. You got the backdoor things going on. You got the on the table business. You have this side business going over here that's kind of like against the grain. There's a lot of different aspects that you need to learn about. And that one right there, you're not going to hear too many people tell you not to join a writing association. I'm saying, Sheff is telling you, do not join a writing association until your opportunity actually comes forth. Okay? If you're a writer and you have no placements, and then tomorrow Disney comes, well, guess what? When Disney comes, you can ask them what association they're with, okay, and join that one tomorrow. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. If I sell a record tomorrow and it spins on the radio 1,000,000 times, I can get join a writers association next month. They will collect for that whole month. So it's fine. You don't have to rush and jump into something that you don't understand. Get the understanding first, then move. All in all, I think what I would like to give to any of you guys that are out there looking to start your own business, or anyone that may be afraid to take that first step, my advice to you is to take that first step. Do it. Because you can lose your job at any time. I was just talking earlier with a friend of mine. I remember back in 2007, I used to work for American Express, and I got laid off. And the day that I got laid off, I actually got a phone call from Earle asking me if I had my studio up and if I was ready to come onto the team as a mixing engineer. So when I left American Express, I was able to place my time and energy into myself. And I think if you put time and energy into anything, it will be successful. And why not put your time and energy into yourself to make yourself successful and the goals that you want to do? Another thing I would suggest to people is you want to have an open ear, but you also want to have a deaf ear. And you want to choose the things you listen to. So people are going to tell you, hey, that's not going to work because this and this and that. Are they an expert? Did they do this already? Did they accomplish what you're trying to accomplish? Well, how can they tell you it's not going to work? Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, didn't play basketball until he was in high school. That means that if someone told him, hey, you can't play basketball, you didn't play all these years, and he wouldn't have did it, he wouldn't be Michael Jordan. So I think that first step is the most important step. Lose the fear, or use the fear rather, and just jump. Jump on out there. Nothing's going to happen. If you fall, you just get a bruise, and bruises heal. Peace. Well, last but not least, I'd like to give a big thank you first to Itchy Brain Recording Studios for letting us use the facility. This is where we record, so if you are needing any recording services, this is where it would happen with Steve Wade. Also like to give a big thanks to my mentor, Earle Holder. It's been a big part of my life in working with him, and Headquarters Studios, and that's where you can get any post-production done. He does the mastering analog, and I'm there to do the mixing in the box. And that's at Headquarters, www.HDQTRZ.com. And a big shout out to Damons and Rennies, my beautiful family writing team. I love them so much. They've taught me a whole lot. And anybody else I forgot, it's okay. You know, Sheff loves you. Special thanks to Artist.Life.Vision and #OurAtlanta. And my dear friends Stephanie and Nathan for giving me the opportunity. You can find me or follow me on Instagram at Sheff Dizzle, or on Facebook it's Sheff Dizzle Morrison. Peace, I'm out. Oh yeah, Sheff with an S. Don't forget.